Welcome to part 2. With your list filtered, the final thing that you need to do is check the availability of the domain names on the list. There are others who are checking the exact same domain name list as you are, so by the time you've done your initial research, some of the names that are on your list may have been taken already. Take your final list and paste it into the search box on this site here, 101domainnames.com. and then paste it into the bulk search box, which you'll find if you come to the home page and then click this link here that says domain names. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see there's this box here which you can paste your list straight into and then click on search. Alternatively, you can use this site here, which was monica.com, but in order to do so you have to sign up for a free account first, but that's not necessary with 101 Domain. Both of these online resources quickly filter your list before showing which domains are still available and which are not. You now have a list of niche market targeted domain names that you can buy. You do not, however, have to buy them from either of the registrars with whom you've just done your research. All you were doing was using the available resources to cut down the amount of time that you spend finding good domains, and there is no clear-cut obligation to use them. In fact, because of the mechanics of transferring a domain to a new owner after you've sold it, I find it's better to have an account with the major registrars, as these tend to be the places where buyers tend to have an account. If you don't already have an account with these domain name registrars, this one here, GoDaddy, which is godaddy.com, Namecheap, which is namecheap.com, and Network Solutions, which is networksolutions.com, or this one here, Bluehost, which is bluehost.com, then I would recommend that you organize your account now to save time doing so later. Having an account with each of these registrars means that when you buy and sell a particular domain name, you can transfer it from your account to that of your buyer with a minimum of fuss. When deciding whether a particular domain name is worth buying or not, keywords do play an important role, as I highlighted previously. For this reason, it makes sense to create a keyword list for any market that you get into so that you have it instantly available for future reference. These keywords lists should not, however, become the driving force of your domain flipping business for a couple of reasons. Firstly, one thing that you must rapidly learn in this business is to be flexible, because each and every day there are easily resellable domain names coming up in a wide variety of niche markets. Consequently, unlike many other net-based money makers, you need to learn to differentiate good domains from poor examples in a wide range of markets as quickly as possible. To do this, concentrate your initial filtering work on finding only relatively short .com names without odd spellings, dashes and numbers. Once you've filtered your list on these requirements, you'll usually find that you have no more than 10 or 20 names on your list, making it much easier to start investigating keyword terms from this point on. Secondly, however, remember that some of the most popular sites on the net are built under domain names that have nothing to do with keywords and everything to do with a brand. For example, Google, Facebook and YouTube don't really have any meaning and are certainly nothing to do with keywords. Nevertheless, they're amongst the most popular sites on the net, indicating that keywords are perhaps not as vitally important as you might initially imagine. Even though these names make little sense per se, they have the advantage of being short, and a made-up name should never be more than 2 combined words long. They sound good, and the slightly unconventional nature of the names have made them easily and instantly brandable. It's perhaps not as easy to judge as it is with domain names built around niche-focused keywords, but I've had plenty of success with short, easily brandable domain names like this. Most importantly, you can usually pick up these names for a song because everyone else is chasing keyword-rich domain names. Consequently, while you may not sell every made-up name, those that do sell make very good money, so it's well worth taking a chance every now and then. And in the final analysis, you have to ask yourself, how much do you want to spend? With your list of domains passed, you're almost ready to make the big leap into the domain flipping game by spending some money to buy. Before you do so, however, you need to decide how much you're ready or willing to spend, because particularly in the early days, you may still have more domain names on your list than you can afford to buy. If at all possible, I would recommend that you start by buying just a small handful of domain names to keep your outlay under control. In addition, if you buy, say, 5 domains, you spread your risk rather than putting all your eggs in one basket as you would if you were to blow the whole budget on just one name. So in the early days, you should definitely keep your financial commitment under control until you get a feel for the domain flipping business. Having done so, you can of course go on to bigger things, but in the beginning, keep it small and spread your risk with several domain buys at a time. When you buy a domain name, it's not going to help you get the best price for it if the domain has a poor track record attached to it. Although there's no definitive proof one way or another, it does seem from my experience that Google and other search engines are far more wary of sites built under previously bad or blacklisted domain names. If those who might otherwise be interested in buying your domain name are savvy enough to know this, it's quite likely that they'll avoid your sale if the domain in question has a questionable past. After all, if they're planning to build a money-making site under this domain, and yet they know that Google might not list it, it wouldn't make sense for them to buy it, now would it? For this reason, you need to do a little more research before finally deciding whether to buy a particular domain name or not. To start with, run a standard Google search using the domain name as your search term. If there are only a handful of results and none of them say anything particularly worrying about the domain name, that's fine. The next thing I do is run a Whois check to get a bit more history about the domain, including who's owned it in the past and how old it is. To begin the process, head to the Whois lookup page at domaintools.com, which is this site here, whois.domaintools.com, and type or paste the domain name into the box on the page. Now I'm going to use this domain here, which I saw earlier on the Digital Point forum, and it's forcewebdirectory.com. So I'm just going to click here on lookup, and you get this results page here, and if I scroll down, you can see you've got the name of the registrant, the domain name, the DNS servers, and so on. But you also see you've got this great big long URL for complete domain details. If I just copy that and then paste it into a blank URL window here and let it load up, it takes me to the registrar's page. In this particular case it's GoDaddy, and if I scroll down to the bottom here, you can see there's a whole lot of information about it, and I can tell that the domain forcewebdirectory.com was created on 31st December 2007, and it expired on the 31st of December 2009, and it was last updated on the 29th of December. So from this you can immediately see how old the domain was when it was first registered, when it was allowed to expire, and so on. Now, the last check that I'd run would be at archive.org, and this is a site that literally keeps an archive of what's happened to any site built under the domain. So you come here, and it's archive.org, and you want to go to their Wayback Machine, and then type or paste the name into here, and click on Take Me Back, and you'll see it lists all of the times that this page was updated. You can see they did a lot of updating in 2008. So if I just click on one of these here, it gives you an idea of what the site looked like. You'll find when you use this that if the site's been taken down, you won't be able to see the graphics that went on the site, but you'll be able to see a lot of information about the site. Finally, you want to test your site on this blacklist checker. This is a Danish page, moensted.dk/spam, and you want to see if it's appeared on any spamming list or something similar. Having got this far, it's unlikely that you'll find anything particularly worrying, but it's worth checking even so. And if you want to go even deeper, there are 25 blacklist checkers on this demos page, which is demos.org/computers/internet/email/spam/blacklists. And I'd only do this really if anything's come up to make me suspicious. With all your checks completed, you're now ready to move on to the next stage, and we'll do that in the next video.